So imagine this, $350 million in funding, having the dream team of ex-Meta engineers as your founders, and not only that, having the revolutionary technology that dubs you as the next big thing that would disrupt the whole society, and then only to fall flat after launching. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here today, Aptos Labs. It's a well-renowned startup, and it started with huge confidence in who the team was. It's known to promise such great product that would basically change all the revenue model out there. And it basically had everything going for it, except actual users using it. Hype alone wasn't enough. And today we're going to break down how they've spent through millions of dollars, what they did and what went wrong, and how you as a founder can actually learn from this. Hi, my name is Kala. This is the PS Product Founder series. I've always wanted to do a social commentary around startups and break down what they did to win, how they failed, if any, and everything that really goes in between that. So let's go right in. Let's try to understand why this is such a huge deal and why Aptos Labs was getting this much hype when it comes to blockchain technologies. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to just have a bit of a review on what blockchain really is and what it provides to people. Blockchain, for years, was described as a way to basically change everything. From how we store our data, make transactions, and just even running businesses, so like the revenue models that we currently have at this point. If you think about it, right now everything's centralized. The banks control the finances, Facebook, Google kind of controls the information for the most part. All your data goes to one centralized platform, right? Which means that companies basically control everything. They control your data, they control what they do with your data, and they kind of control the policies. They control the algorithm on how you interact with their platform. Basically, it's all of them deciding the rules. With blockchain, that basically changes everything. Blockchain kind of provides you with new technologies that allows people to be more transparent, that essentially reduces fraud. And of course, there's like decentralization and tokenization, which basically removes the power from the centralized system into the power of the user. So the users technically would have the ability to vote on the algorithm, on the community guidelines, on everything and how a platform kind of does its own thing. Now, I've actually talked about blockchain in a more in-depth way at my Substack, so please subscribe if you haven't already, and you can read more about this exact case study and a lot more information over there. Technically, there could be ways where you can have financial service without banks, without any middleman. You don't need any of that anymore. So that's what I mean by it'll change a lot of the industries. Yeah. So that's essentially the theory behind blockchain technology, which is why a lot of investors try to be behind that, because they want to be the early adopters, get their money when blockchain actually goes and hits big.
I don't want to make a little bit of money every day. I want to make a fuck ton of money all at once.
Aptos Lab was supposed to be the new Ethereum killer. It was founded by Mo Sheikh and Avery Ching, two ex-Meta engineers, which is very important in this story because they plan to use this blockchain programming language called Move. Now, Move was actually developed because Meta had their project that they've scrapped called DM, and it's supposed to be this new cutting edge technology when it comes to building blockchain apps. That's why this gathered so much hype. It was supposed to break through this industry. The promise was, because they're going to get this much money, Aptos Labs is able to develop the technology further that they can support 100,000 transactions per second. This would give way to a lot more Web3 products, a lot more blockchain apps. So what happens next? Well, when they launched in 2022, that 100,000 TPS that they promised ended up just being 4 TPS. So you can imagine the dismay and the loss of confidence from the users that they've gotten in their community to kind of try it out, at the same time from the investors. So it wasn't great at all. Aptos promised scalability and efficiency. That's basically their whole MO here. And this also exposed a bigger problem, which is that they look too much into the tech rather than the people using the tech. If you haven't subscribed to the news stack, I actually did dive deeper into what they focus on. Like, they tried to get more teams of people. They tried to do hackathons. They did a lot of things to foster this community. However, it just didn't factor out to their benefit. And the Substack actually dives deeper into that too. It'll be linked down below if you want to read it. So there's a lot of hype. But hype didn't actually mean adoption here. They did try to foster that community, and they got a lot of teams of engineers who were interested. They did a lot of hackathons, so there were many projects around this. But you have to understand that when there's competition, it's really difficult for people to switch from legacy to a new system. At this time, Ethereum already has millions of users, and Solana has established apps as use cases for these users. Aptos had neither of that. They don't have big apps that's currently in the system that kind of entices users and keeps them on their platform. The second thing that happened during that time in 2022 is that they launched during the FTX scandal. This is during the time when FTX collapsed. All the celebrities were absolutely hammered and criticized. The whole world of crypto during that time was imploding. Imagine how conservatives, the VCs and users and people are in general when it comes to cryptocurrency during that time. A lot of people are already hesitant when it comes to cryptocurrency, so using another new app that doesn't have an established brand yet is a bit difficult. Another one is that they scaled before demand. They raised $350 million before they've really proven that they actually have users. Quite common enough that it happens, but still insane, because when you get money from VC funding, your investors will start to expect that money to come back to them 300 times in a very unimaginably short time period. Although, to be fair, at this point, you have to understand this is new technologies and they needed that money to develop it. But it was a risk and it just didn't help them at the end. So how about Aptos Labs right now? Where is it? What is it doing? Right now, it's kind of pivoted into a different strategy. They've gone into more niching themselves and being more active in certain regions. For example, they've had a Japanese expansion with Hashpalette. It's not like they disappeared, but it's also not the promise of the Ethereum killer as well. They're trying to prove themselves as a viable company. So what can you take away from this little study here? Depending on the hype alone is not going to help you. At the same time, hype when it comes to getting users doesn't necessarily mean that they're your users forever. Sometimes you have to make sure that there's adoption. And that's something that wasn't as fully fleshed out during this time. I keep saying this all the time, but funding isn't going to help you and save you. Yes, it'll help you grow the business and scale your business, but the pressure will be a lot more immense and you'll have less control over your own company. So really do understand when to get more funding. And if you do get more funding, you want to make sure you have generated revenue and you've proven that there is users who will be using your product. And let's think about luck here. Let's think about the market that they launched in was unfortunate for them. FTX just crashed down. So sometimes luck is not on your side. You can't control that, but it is a factor. Also, community and acquiring users, especially in the beginning, is a lot more viable plan for you to make sure that you stay safe and stay in the game a lot longer than just building great products. So Aptos is such a great story of such promising technologies with bright, talented people as developers, but also founders who have all the credentials to make something like this work. So just making sure that when you are building your own or thinking about building your own apps, think about whether you actually have demand for your app right now. Have you talked to the users that you're thinking of? Because I know, based on my experience so far working with founders, that's actually one of the biggest things that doesn't happen often. And I know from building apps, that's one of the hardest things to continue and iterate on. Yeah, so if you found this fun, which I really found it fun, I found these things fun, subscribe. I'd love to do more of this. I plan to talk about Solana for the next round of this. And also remember, I've already talked about this in an in-depth study at my newsletter at PS Product Person. Anyways, I'm Paula. I'm a product consultant. I'm really happy you're here, and let me know in the comments what you think. Did you take away anything from this? I'd love to know. Just would love to know. All right, talk to you later. Bye.